Alright, so I literally just got done recording my review for Child's Play 1, and now it's time to do my review for Child's Play 2. And I gotta say, this movie, I would say it's bigger, better in some ways, but you know, it always changes on whatever movie I'm watching, whatever mood I'm in. Child's Play 1 and Child's Play 2 are always fighting to see which one's first. And spoiler alert, if I ever do a ranking, yeah, one of these movies is gonna be on top, depending on whatever mood I am. But Child's Play 2 is a phenomenal sequel, and I love it just as much as the first one. There are some aspects that I love more than there are some aspects that I think Child's Play 1 just does better. But for the most part, these two movies are amazing, and I love both of them.
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
Alright, I gotta say, first things first, Child's Play 2, you really get to see from the start more of Brad Dourif voicing Chucky, and let's be honest, the animatronics, they're still amazing. The voice, in my opinion, this Chucky is much better than the Chucky in Child's Play 1, just simply because we're able to see more of Chucky and more of the character of Chucky, and he is just cracking one-liners left and right, and there's so many insults. Like, I mean, the character of Chucky, he's just such a dick to anything and everything. There really isn't one thing that Chucky won't make fun of. You know, he'll make fun of, like, women. You know, I think he'll make fun of, like, the handicap. He'll make fun of, you know, all kinds of, like, sex, gender, really anything. Whatever it is, Chucky will make fun of him. And that's kind of what makes him so special. And kind of what makes him so funny. Because, you know, if he's making fun of everybody, he's not really insulting anybody. Because he's just a dick, he's just a bad guy. And I love the fact that Brad Dourif is voicing it, because it's just a perfect match. And yeah, I gotta say, Chucky is much better in this movie than he is in the first one. And that's nothing against the Chucky in the first one, because, you know, for half the movie, you really don't get to see much of it. And now it's just, they're letting it all out. And of course, now we're just following Andy, and we don't really get to see any of Andy's mom or Detective Norris, simply because, you know, I think it's said that they're in a, I know I've seen this movie like a million times, but I always forget. I think they're like in a, some kind of mental institute. Well, at least she is, because I think the cops denied it. But yeah, so here we're following Andy, and he's in a foster home, and he's with the Simpsons. And, you know, I gotta say, no, not those Simpsons, but Joanne, that's her name. I always say Phil, right? Hausenhagen Phil. There you go. I was trying to find his name. But yeah, Phil, you know, he's more like the strict parent with the rules, and he's kind of just trying to teach him, you know, about, you can tell that Phil is kind of the one that's trying to teach him about what's right and wrong, what, you know, hard work. And then Joanne is just there to be the loving one, to kind of just, you know, make him feel loved for the fact that he's probably, you know, if he's in a foster home, it's probably because he lost his parents in some situation. So you can tell they're kind of like yin yang, you know. It's like this perfect match. You know, one is strict but fair, and then the other one's caring and loving. But yeah, and yeah, those characters, they're enjoyable. I can see they're trying to be good parents to Andy, and in the foster house, which is just such a colorful, fun house to look at, even though it's pretty ugly. The colors that they use, it's ugly, but it's so fun. It's so playful. That's what this movie has. Even the score, like I said in my previous review, every score is pretty much iconic to that movie, and this score is just as beautiful as the first one in a completely different way. This one is more playful, yet just savage and aggressive. You know, it's bigger, and you know, you really get to see that within the house itself, just the color pattern of the house. And, you know, the final sequence, which I'm going to talk about later, it's so colorful, it's so big, it's so unique. You know, you compare the house in this movie, this foster house, compared to, you know, the apartment that, I think it was Karen, right? Karen Barkley, that Karen had, and, you know, it was like dull, and it was, you know, it didn't really have much love to it. And then this house is so colorful with so much love, and I think that just shows the difference between the movies. You know, you get the first apartment in Child's Play 1, and it's a very serious, suspenseful movie, and then you get, you know, the house in this movie, and it's a very playful and just balls to the wall. I mean, do you guys remember that scene? And of course you remember that scene in this classroom with Miss Kettlewell. Like, that just tells you what kind of movie you're in for Child's Play 2, where it's not really going for scares, it's just going for almost this action, just bombastic, just all over the place movie. And it's hilarious. And I just remember that scene with Miss Kettlewell. It's so iconic. I mean, just him with the yardstick, just ready to beat the shit out of her. I remember seeing that as a kid, and even that, it never scared me. I always thought it was hilarious. But yeah, so Andy, we get to meet his foster sister, and Kyle is also really iconic, and I'm so glad they brought her back for the Chucky TV show, and I hope we get to see more of her, because I don't think they used her as much as we would have liked her to see in the season 1. So I'm pretty sure she's not dead. But anyways, yeah, so he meets Kyle, which is just this badass, really hard and strict foster sister, but you can tell she cares about Andy, and of course by the end, you know, she's trying to save him, she's trying to protect him. So a great character, a great addition, and I think we all love Kyle because she's kind of like the big sister that we all want in our family, you know, someone to protect us. And of course, we can't talk about this movie without mentioning the finale. The finale to this movie, the third act to this movie, in the Good Guys Factory, is probably the best setting for any third act of any horror movie that I've ever seen. And I don't think that many people will argue against me. The factory here, the maze, is just so beautiful. It's kind of like The Shining, where they're running around everywhere and Chucky's chasing after him, and Chucky gets the shit beat out of him in this movie. I mean, especially towards the end, this man gets torn to pieces, and I just love how he's still coming to kill Andy, and he is just not stopping at all. And you gotta give him props. The man doesn't give up. Good for Chucky. But yeah, the factory, it's so beautiful. You know, if that location was still here, it could be an amazing attraction, and I guarantee so many people would go to see that place, because the factory, in my opinion, it's the best, you know, location for a third act in any horror movie. Nothing comes close, nothing beats it. You know, it's so beautiful, it's so well designed, it's so fun. I love the factory setting. So yeah, I would say this movie it's much bigger than the original one, and it's better in some ways, and better in ways which I would say just Chucky himself. I think Chucky, the character of Chucky, is a better character, because we get to see more of Chucky, we get to see more of the one-liners. You know, it's bigger because the finale. Now, I love the finale in Child's Play 1. I think it's awesome, you know, in just the apartment itself. You know, he gets beat up, then he gets burned, and then he comes back, and then they're shooting him. Yeah, it's awesome, it's cool, it's badass in its own way. But let's be real, something great can't compare to something perfect, because the third act in Child's Play 2 is perfect. I don't think anything comes close to beating it. I think the character of Karen and, you know, his actual mother is more entertaining, and we care more for her trying to save Andy than we do about the Simpsons. You know, while I still like the characters of the Simpsons, they're just not as memorable or as iconic as Andy's mom was in the first one. But we still get Kyle, so, you know, that makes up for it. And the kills, you know, the kills have never been anything special in the Chucky franchise, in my opinion. You know, they've been fun, especially with the yardstick with Miss Kettlewell. But again, nothing fancy, nothing too creative. You know, we get, you know, some better kills and, you know, more funny kills later in the franchise. But of course, we still get, it's pretty much not even the kills. It's just Chucky himself. You know, nobody talks about the kills. Nobody talks about how they die. It's just what does Chucky do to them before he kills them. That's what makes him more iconic. And, you know, I'm glad we get to see more of that. So yes, this movie, I absolutely love it more. And of course, I'm going to do, you know, another review on this movie because I love it. I always debate which one I like more, whether it's the first one or the second one. Those are always going to fight for, you know, my favorite Chucky movie of the Child's Play franchise. And yeah, I would say this movie is damn near perfect. Anything negative about this movie? I can't think of anything negative about this movie. This movie is just so much fun. It's so easy to watch. It's such an easy movie to watch because it's only like, what, 90 minutes, if not less. And you can just put it on at any time. You will always be in the mood for Child's Play 2. That's one thing I could say. You will always be in the mood for Child's Play 2 because it's so easy to watch. It's so enjoyable. It's so much Chucky. I don't think you will ever not be in the mood for this one. You might be in the mood to watch Child's Play 1 more, and then that's the only time you would play it. Or if you're just doing a marathon, you'll watch this movie once and then watch all the other movies later. But if you're in the mood, it's just like, I want to watch a Chucky movie, and I'm not in the mood to see something too suspenseful, I'm just in the mood to see something fun, you will always put on Child's Play 2. And I know I have, because I think this is probably the movie that I've seen the most. I love that factory setting. Awesome. And yeah, this movie is great. Can't really think of too many negatives. But anyways, as always, thanks for watching. And yes, I will have my review for Child's Play 3 out soon. Thanks.